within 15 minutes of the end of the season, I would just pull in, plug up the window, 5 minutes later, there's a ticket on the car. Right up to the very end of the season, with minutes to spare practically. You know? And another thing, I mean, you must be raising a lot of money, because these tickets aren't cheap. I paid $47, and I've had a number of tickets, but just for parking in front of my own house. And I think the tickets are excessive. I think it's just an extra tax on residents. And we're already paying tax. We're paying your salaries. We're paying just about everything that goes on in the city. And yet we're taxed again with these outrageously priced parking tickets. I think people who are residents here need to get together, I think, and we need to get these tickets lowered or at least eliminated, because I think people who live here should not be taxed like that. Should not be getting such expensive tickets. $47 for parking in front of my house. I just think that's really excessive. And I wish you would look into that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You know me by now, Charlie Prattville. I'm going to start by making an appeal to you. There are a number of people that want to be in this meeting and participate in this meeting and make comments and ask questions, but they are not being allowed in. The police are keeping them out, and you, sir, are participating via Zoom. Are you in the state of New Jersey?
I'm participating via Zoom because I had a...
Mr. Chairman.
The chairman runs the meeting, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
The chairman runs the meeting. My question was to the chairman. He gave his response.
Excuse me, sir. You don't get to tell me when I can talk to you. Mr. Chairman, I just as a reminder, as to the general public, we have advised everyone that we'll be taking everyone's questions, and that if we're going to respond, we'll respond at the end.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Credible.
Okay, so I just want to, for everyone who's watching or hearing this, I don't want you to believe the BS. This board historically has asked questions, and the only times they happen are when this law firm interferes to stop questions from being answered, stopping the dialogue. And so I'm going to ask you, please, Mr. Chairman, would you direct the staff of the parking authority to give the same Zoom link that you have to the folks who are outside waiting to participate in the meeting?
Yeah, Mr. Credible, we can go through that at another time. Tonight's meeting is being conducted the way it's being conducted. And I'd like us, please, to allow you to continue to make your comments, and let's move forward with the meeting.
My comment.
I'm not here to have a question and answer session.
I made a request on behalf of the people who are being kept out of the meeting, the residents, the people who have comments to make. You thanked everyone who made comments here. There's more people. They want to participate, but the parking authority and the police are denying them that ability that you yourself have. You're there on Zoom. Are you running the meeting from Florida today, sir? Are you a New Brunswick resident?
If additional comments, Mr. Credible?
You bet I do. It is outrageous that you've rejected and ignored my request to allow remote access to these meetings and granted it for only yourself. That is not leadership. That is not public dialogue. That's the opposite. That's giving yourself special treatment and having the police keep people out of the meeting. That is outrageous. I understand it's a small room. I understand. But you gave yourself the special power to run the meeting from out of state, and now other people who are 10 feet away from us are being denied the ability to give you a public comment. And I, for one, think that's outrageous. And I do have questions for this board. I have questions about the discrimination lawsuits. We heard about a gentleman who claims he was, racist remarks were made to him by staff. I would let you know that there is a former employee who has sued this agency for discrimination. I've tried to ask about it. I've tried to get answers about it. I believe the matter's been moved to federal court, and it's been settled. I think the public deserves to know what the settlement is. Can anyone tell me what the settlement was for the person who sued under the law against discrimination?
Counselor, do you have a comment, Kim?
To the results of a lawsuit with, there's no party name, there's no docket. I don't even know what lawsuit we're talking about.
Are you serious? We talked about it after the last meeting.
So, I'm sorry, you're asking me to give you a formal response as to the details of a settlement that I've never read, that I don't have in front of me, and you're asking about it now. So, the answer is, again, what was the answer? I'm assuming it was the answer at the end of the meeting, which is, if the settlement isn't finalized yet and hasn't made its way to me, then I don't have anything to comment on. When it gets to me, I have it. I'm happy to have a conversation. All right, you know that. This isn't but you're asking for specifics about it. And again, we had one conversation about something a while ago, kind of vaguely. I don't know the docket number. I don't know the name. I've never read any of the case file on it. I can't comment on a matter that I didn't personally handle. I simply can't.
How many discrimination lawsuits are there against the authority? Because I thought there was only one, but we spoke about it after the last meeting, and you said, when I get the settlement agreement, I'll send it to you. But you also said you'd get me the name of the company that does the training. And as you know, I had to follow up a half dozen times until earlier today you provided that information. I'd like to move on to that topic because we're not really getting anywhere. Last night, Mr. Castaneda informed us about the violations of law that this authority is responsible for, as well as the company that does the training. The entity that does the training he identified as a nonprofit organization called the New Jersey Parking Institute. Of course, at the last meeting, I asked who does the training, and nobody could say. Now we have the answer. It's the New Jersey Parking Institute, but I don't think that organization is a nonprofit. They don't have a website. The email address that I have for them bounced back. The phone number doesn't work. They supposedly have or had an office at 144 Livingston Avenue. I went there today. Nobody knew what the New Jersey Parking Institute is. Can anybody tell us who runs the New Jersey Parking Institute? Can anyone tell us?
As we do with the other speakers, why don't you just take a note of that and get back to Mr. Cranville?
Okay. I see here in patch.com, August 19th, 2014, NBPA's Executive Director elected President of the New Jersey Parking Institute. Is Mr. Cameron the President of the New Jersey Parking Institute still? No? When did you leave that position?
When I retired.
Okay. Well, on the 2024 Association of Parking Authorities of New Jersey 990, you are listed as the president and treasurer of that organization. You're still in that role, or no? No, you're not. Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. If the authority is relying on the claim that the New Jersey Parking Institute provides training to its staff, and no one can say who runs that entity, and their office is long gone, and their website is long gone, and their email address doesn't work, and their phone number doesn't work, we have to ask ourselves if this is really an organization at all. What training could they possibly be providing with no office, no phone number, no email? No wonder they had no contract, and no wonder nobody could say who does the training when I asked at the last meeting. I will just wrap up by saying that I tried to bring these problems and violations to the attention of the board, and it was dismissed. It was, oh, Charlie, you're wrong. You don't understand the law. That doesn't apply to us. And now, after investigation, and after I wrote to the judges of the New Brunswick Municipal Court, we now know that I was right. And I would just caution every board member to understand that you are in charge of this agency. Don't believe things just because a professional tells you them. The authorities worked with a lot of professionals over the years. They don't always give good advice. They don't always tell you the right thing. And they're giving you bad advice when they say you can't answer questions. They're giving you bad advice when they say, we do the training properly. They're giving you bad advice when they say, we follow all the rules. They weren't, and now it's been exposed. And Mr. McTurnan, you should be ashamed of yourself for not letting the rest of the public come in this meeting, because they wanted to speak to you just as much as I do. I take that ability very seriously, and I've been here at every meeting for a long time. There's other people that are here for the first time, and they came out, and you shutting them down is going to make them feel very badly about how their government works. So I would, one last time, encourage you to offer the Zoom link to the people who are outside so that they can be heard. That's all for me. Thank you.
We're at 5 minutes. I just want to make sure you're done. Anyone else?
And they're outside.
Okay.
Can I make a suggestion? Sorry. Maybe one of the photographers could leave so someone can talk.
If I could do. Yeah, I mean, if it comes to that, I'm happy to leave. I don't know.
I'm just trying to make.
Yeah, no, I'm happy because we could just give them the Zoom link, but, you know. Hey, if you want to talk, now's the time for public comment. They'll actually listen to you. I'm going to swap out. I just need to get back in after public comment. Hey, folks. How you doing?
Hello. So my name is Anaï.
Someone who just need to come out.
The residents that actually live on the street, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The residents that actually live on the street, well, my specific street is Comstock Street. So before we have the resident permit sign, we would get tickets just for parking on the street, even though it was a public street. And I've noticed that most of the parking authorities, they were just writing the tickets and not checking the licenses. And from what I believe, that is supposed to be done first before writing the ticket. However, I noticed that's not being done. Also, with the resident permit parking sign, even though it says Monday through Friday, I have seen some tickets being written on the weekends and especially at night around like maybe after 10 p.m. after everybody is asleep, which I think shouldn't be done since nobody's awake at that time. And yeah, I think it's just quite disappointing that the process isn't being done properly. And also, I think there definitely needs to be a change since myself and everybody else in our community has noticed how much not only the prices increase, but how frequently tickets are being written out. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Vincent. I go to school here. I got to overview Charlie's work, but I sort of kickstarted this from Charlie. I had received a ticket on Main Street all this. It was a permit parking violation. I looked into it, and I sort of found all these deficiencies, and I also found out how they were doing it seemed to be not correct. So I sort of springboarded to Charlie, and my ticket work, which was found not guilty, or was dismissed by the prosecutor. But I do believe the parking authority has to, just like everything, has to do things correctly. And how these tickets are being issued, most people are not going to write a $47 ticket and the risk they're being out $32 before cost of the so the incentive is just to give them more information. I think we need to have some more accountable, and we also have to have a lot more just thoroughness. Same way when you do your this reorg, when you appoint people for the year, people that were hired, say one whenever the reorg, after the reorg last year into this reorg here, they were never really appointed until now. That's what I've seen going through the agendas and now. Create a weird paradox for yourself because people have never been appointed, and then it's looking weird by council. It looks like they technically have to be appointed by council, but even if you disagree with that premise, they're never appointed by the parking authority. And you have an issue here where you're going to have, I know. I'm sorry. I know a little rambling. I don't want to. No, I'm just saying. You just don't have just a proper way. I think, like any government job, you're appointed when you come on, when you start training. I've never really seen systems where you get appointed up to a year later and then start working for any government position. That is all.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for coming.
Next. Thank you.
I'm so sweet. 140 Council Street. I parked right in front of my house, the other side of the door, and I'm getting ticket. When they supposed to take the license plate, when the car is going, and they come with the witness. The sign here says, we have ticket on Saturday night. That's what I think this means.
Was that it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Euphemia Garcia. My address is 24 Prosper Street.
I'm gonna translate for herself.
Yo vivo en la 24 Prosper Street.
I live on 24 Prospect Street.
Yo he pagado demasiado demasiado, y solamente me parqueo enfrente de donde vivimos.
I pay many tickets, and I don't know why, because I park my car right in front of my house.
A las 10, 11, 12 de la noche me ponen ticket.
10 p.m., 11 p.m. at night, we're still getting tickets.
Yo creo que no es justo, porque he pagado más de $300 al mes.
There are times where I have paid $300 a month just in tickets, and I don't think that's fair.
Y por eso que vine.
¿Qué le quiere decir? Porque ellos son los que tienen.
Que si pues nos pueden ayudar para uno no pagar tanto, porque si yo no viviera en esa calle, pues está bien, so yo vivo.
And she's asking if there's anything that you guys can do in order to stop that.
Well, our counsel, our lawyer is taking the information down, and we will ask the staff to get back to you and give you an answer to your questions.
Okay, let me translate that. Que aquí la Junta está cogiendo la información suya y que va a tratar de contactarse con ustedes. How are they going to get back to her?
So,
What would you prefer? We can mail a letter. I'll leave that between Aaron and your the lady asking the questions.
just so everyone's aware, so we have, and if you, for those who have been in the room the entire time, there's a nice combination here of individual, hey, I got this particular ticket and I don't understand why I had that particular ticket, and that's one very specific bucket. There's concerns over where we write tickets to the cost, that's a different kind of bucket altogether. And there's kind of varieties in between. As it comes to these with operational, we need to, if you have specific questions or don't understand why you got a specific ticket, we'll get the information out there, who it is you have to contact, or how, and we can get your information, have that office contact you. So if you could hang around and we can do that kind of afterward, that we can do, and then connect you with the right people. As it pertains to some of the other larger issues, and I know that people are still going, so just so everyone understands, if they're more holistic, operational, why are we doing these things? I'd like to propose policy changes, whatever. That's sort of a different process that we would have to go through. But the day-to-day operational things, if you have a concern and you've had a problem with your ticket, you have a problem with your ticket, there's a methodology to contact someone on a regular basis and say, hey, I got this ticket, I don't think this was correct, and how can we resolve it? That's different. We want to get you the other information. So we'll get your information afterward.
Okay, I thought you stick around.
Yeah.
Que si quiere esperar para que él ponga su información y poder resolver qué pasó.
At the end of public comment, because we have presentation. And I need to get one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you just take down there?
Thank you. Thank you for coming
Can you
tonight.
get that for them?
I'll put you información. Just thinking, ella lo haría.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yes, I'm gonna leave so somebody else can come in.
No, wait, we got more.
One more, yeah.
Yeah, one more.
Last one?
So I'm told, one more.
Okay. Yeah, we hate to cut it and have one person stay. You know.
We good for now.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, then that no one else.
Yeah, she's about to leave.
Does that conclude the public comment?
Yeah, that would conclude public comment.
Okay, thank you.
All right, how many people are in the room? Sorry, I have to bring, how many people can I bring in? I got like 5 people left. All these people spoke already, right?
Yeah.
Members of the public.
You don't have to leave. If you want to stay, you can stay. They can figure out what they gotta do for their work.
Where's the phone number?
Right now.
Write your name and phone number. Contact.
And did we get your information as well? Okay.
She gets home.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Estamos en vivo, estamos en la reunión de la autoridad. Si quiere se puede quedar a sentarse ya. Si quiere.
Sí, pero voy a hablar con mi hija porque tenemos que ir a un part-time.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Hope everything works out good. And I hear from somebody, please.
You will. Thank you for your comments.
All right, no problem.
He's there.
So soon as the woman leaves. Yeah, put my name on the phone. How many are there?
14, 15.
So,
No. There's 15 here.
I got 5.
I think that
Okay, you're good. I got those other 20.
Okay.
All right.
And then I got 5.
5 minutes just to allow us to get the information from the public. And then we
Estamos en vivo desde la oficina de la Autoridad de Parqueos de la ciudad de New Brunswick.
we would just need a motion to take a 5-minute recess. Motion. All in favor?
Van a coger una pausa.
Mr. Chairman, we're in recess for it's 5:47 until 5:52.
Van a hacer una pausa de 4 minutos. Volvemos en 4.
What I do want to know is, I bought my ticket so you can make a copy of it so you can see. Yeah, this is crazy. This is how you just send somebody a ticket in the mail and their job to do business. You can't even do business in New Brunswick because if you go into the bank like I do now, I got to ride all the way to Edison. Me and my husband had to go to Edison today. We couldn't even do business here because get a ticket.
How far was in Edison all day today too?
I was right there on 27. This one I paid on.
Those are here.
This one, that one I paid. It's the same ticket.
Yeah. So all right.
Because I tried it. Why should I live right here? I'm a resident. Why should I have to? I'm going in to do business, and that's why I told them even in the bank. I said you need to get some policy or something, and they said it's nothing we could do about it.
Well, so that's that becomes a little different. The question of whether or not we can even issue tickets is wholly different than whether or not the ticket was issued.
There's never nowhere to park at. You've got the meters have that red bag over them. It's horrible.
No. Look,
It's very, very horrible.
I understand. So, that's so something like Twitter. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, you said the same ticket. That's why I said I can't even come to the city where I did that because I get a ticket. No.
But I think that's, yeah, and I don't think that any version of you know what I'm saying? But I hear what you're saying, and it's a good point of how do we do it.
I'm showing you it's a pattern.
No, and honestly, that's why I appreciate
Para las personas que se acaban de unir a la transmisión, estamos en las oficinas de la Junta de Parqueos de New Brunswick, donde, como ustedes ya saben, ayer nos enteramos que todas las personas que dan tickets, los tiqueteros, no son legítimamente o no han sido entrenados bien. Por eso su legitimidad de dar tickets está en está en duda. Eso quiere decir que hay una posibilidad de que quizás todos los tickets que las personas han recibido por estos tiquiteros, los que dan tickets, no sean, tendrían que devolver el dinero, pero todavía está muchas cosas en dudas, así que estamos esperando a ver. Quizás hoy no se resuelva esto, pero ya comenzó el proceso de evaluar qué van a hacer con este gran problema que el compañero Charlie ha descubierto ayer.
I would never want to put people in a room and have to, all right, no, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You guys ready? Whenever, are we staying on? So, oh wait, there he is.
Is that open?
No, sir. So, Mr. Chairman, it's 5:52. We would need a motion to resume the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Chairman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mitch, would you like to introduce the next portion of the meeting?
Yes, as many of you know, we were appointed a redevelopment agency for the new Redmond 2 redevelopment plan area. And tonight, I'd like to defer to our redevelopment counsel, Mr. John Hoffman, who will be introducing, I guess, AST New Brunswick, who is going to go over what their plan is for this new Redmond 2 redevelopment area. With that, John, can you?
I'll start off. This is news to everybody, but the designation of you as a redevelopment entity was also approved by the local finance board. There's a redevelopment plan. I think you may have it. And the plan designates the plan area, which is primarily block 144 and 14401. This property, which you're going to deal with tonight, is for an office building which will be built between New Street and Redmond Street. Now, under the plan, and the city adopts the plan, and they say what they want in the plan area, the responsibility of you as a redevelopment agency is to determine whether the developer, the plan that they have meets, that they propose meets the plan, and whether they're financially capable and whether they have the construction experience in order to construct it. And that's what we'll go over. That's what we will go over with the developer. And the second part of the resolution deals with the improvement of a redevelopment agreement. After you designate a redeveloper, the parking authority as a redevelopment entity has a redevelopment agreement with them, and I'll describe that agreement to you. And that would also be approved as part of the resolution. The project that they will describe to you is a 8-story office building consisting of approximately 217,000 square feet. Half the parking spaces will be on site, and the other half will be in the New Street deck. If at a future time there's a parking deck constructed on the Mayfair lot, they have requested the right to move these 150 spaces on site, off site, and then they would be able to build another office building and figure out the parking at that time. But they would have to come back to this agency because you are the redevelopment for that whole area, and the second part would be part of that. So the lots are divided into a lot A and a lot B. They submitted their development experience, and they constructed here in New Brunswick the ambulatory medical pavilion and the medical office building, which is on Plum Street. They've also constructed residential complexes in Rawley and student housing in Clemson, South Carolina. Ms. Van Anton has been around for a while and has always constructed. He also constructed the parking deck between the two cluster buildings. The project is estimated to cost $175 million. It will be financed for tax-free debt, and that's because they're going to lease it entirely to the County of Middlesex for administrative loans. The estimate is that they will commence construction by February 1, 2028, and complete it by February 1, 2031. And this Brian Nelson is their attorney, and he will introduce his witnesses who will give testimony on the project.
Thank you, counsel, and thank you, chair. My name is Brian Nelson, the law firm Spiro, Harrison & Nelson. I'm appearing on behalf of AST New Brunswick LLC, which is seeking to be designated as the redeveloper of block 144, lot 14.01, 16-19, block 20.01, and 37 through 44 within the New Redmond 2 redevelopment area, commonly known as 172 New Street. The entirety of the proposed project area is owned by AST currently, which intends to construct an 8-story office building consisting of approximately 217,000 square feet in conformance with the redevelopment plan. Joining me tonight are Robert DeAnton and Shane Serrano from AST, Christian Roach, our engineer, and Matthew Dermal, our architect, who will present specific plans for the proposed project at this time. We're merely seeking the redevelopment entity's designation to be designated and qualified as a redeveloper and the entry of a redevelopment agreement with the redevelopment entity so that the applicant can then proceed to file a site plan application and get this project underway once the terms are finalized with the county for the lease. It's essentially a P3 redevelopment project is probably the best and most concise way to describe this type of project. And I'll turn it over to our engineer, Christian.
Not that one. Yeah, it's gonna be a hearing, so you want to swear me now?
You want me to swear something in? I'll do whatever you guys would like. Testifying something? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, this is that they're giving evidence on the hearing. They're giving evidence on the project.
Yeah, no, I don't need to swear them in there. This is just a presentation.
Yeah, they're testifying. They're testifying as to what the project is. And if anybody attacks it,
Sure. No, I'm sorry. I looked down. I didn't realize we were going to have somebody be going on. We have a Bible or something.
no, just.
I do. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christian.
Pinky swear, bro.
With Langen Engineering and Environmental Services. I've been practicing civil engineering now for around 20 years in New Brunswick. When I started testifying in New Brunswick, neither Charlie nor I had any gray hair, so it's been quite some time since I've been appearing in front of these boards. As our attorney noted, the projects that we're here to talk about this evening is identified as block 144, blocks 14.01, 16 through 19, 20.01, 22.01, and 37 through 44. Those lots in total comprise approximately 2.2 acres, and they're generally bound by New Street to the north, Redmond Street to the south, and commercial and residential uses to the east and west. The site's presently vacant. However, about 3 years ago, some foreign buildings were demolished on the western portion of the site, and up until just recently, the eastern portion of the site was utilized for some surface parking. Vehicular to access the site is presently provided off New Street and Redmond Street, and most notably, as our attorney noted, this project, when it goes forward with the site plan application, is going to be fully conforming with the Redmond 2 redevelopment plan. So, moving to what the applicant is proposing to construct on the property, the applicant is looking to build a 8-story office building with a footprint of approximately 27,000 square feet. We anticipate access to the property will remain off New Street and Redmond Street, primarily utilizing New Street for the access. From the parking perspective, as Mr. Hoffman noted, the redevelopment plan allows for half of the required parking for the office building to be done off-site in the New Street garage. I'm using really round numbers, but that would be approximately 150 stalls. And then we have 2 options for the remainder of the parking, which is required. It could be done through a new garage to the west of the site, if that's completed in time, or it could be done on-site. So we've designed site conservatively to provide those 150 parking stalls within a surface parking lot to the proposed building. If the other garage is done in time, we may alter that and the garage for the parking perspective.
And that would make how many parking spaces in total?
I'm using very round numbers, it may change by 1 or 2. In total, we would have 300 parking spaces.
And they would have to come back to you if they ever make this change.
That's correct. And we anticipate on-site loading for the office building would generally be done on-site. We expect those vehicles to be non-tractor trailers or box trucks, that type of variety of vehicles, which to be done near the parking area, and then trash operations would be handled on the west side of the building. We'd have an enclosed trash instructor and bring trash out to Redmond Street. I won't get too much into the technical details, but I will say that the project will be fully conforming with both the state and the city stormwater management regulations. We've begun the utility coordination with the city for water and sewer, as well as have initial discussions with PSE&G. There's no utility capacity issues in the area, and we anticipate most of those utility services will come in all of New Street. And just lastly, as we dive into the site plan design, we will have some incremental landscaping specifically around the perimeter of the parking lot with New Street trees and new sidewalks on the surrounding roadways.
Why don't we take both witnesses, and then if there's any questions you can ask. You can ask them questions after they both make their presentation. You want to swear yourself in?
Is this presentation going to be true? Hey, do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Jarmel. I'm a registered architect in New Jersey since 1994. President and principal of Jarmel Keisel Architects and Engineers. I've been fortunate enough to design several projects here in New Brunswick, which recently a Plum 2 facility that was built by my client, as well as Plum 1 some years ago. And I was involved in the Robert Wood Johnson Fitness and Wellness Center, which I believe is one of your parking garages. I'll try and be very brief. Some of what you've already heard in terms of the description of the project is we propose to build what I'll call a Class A plus office building. It is 8 stories in height. The ground floor is 26,731 square feet, and then floors 2 through 8 are slightly larger at 27,291, and that's because this curved element cantilevers over the main entry of the building. So the total gross area of the building is 217,768 gross square feet. It's all designed to be office. There's no basement. The overall height that's measured from the top of the slab of the first floor to the top of the parapet is 128 feet. Our floor-to-floor heights are generally 14 feet per floor, with the first floor being 20 feet floor-to-floor. So we need to mark these as exhibits, but this is a rendering of the building. What we show here is A1 is a typical floor plan, and the building's kind of interesting. It has the main entry I just talked about. You can see that dotted curved line that covers the main entry, and there's a secondary entry both off of New Street. This entry is intended for really the public. People, the county, when they occupy the building, will have certain functions on the first floor that are public facing or customer based, and then the upper floor of the building will be more administrative, and that has a separate entry for county employees to come in. Buildings proposed because of the type, 4 elevators. Generally, it'll have 2 fire stairs. There's a third stair that serves only a portion of the floors based on their occupancy, and there's a door for bathrooms. So essentially, all I have to share with you.
If any other questions, have any questions on either of the witnesses?
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you both. The second part is the approval of the redevelopment agreement, which you have the agreement, it's consented. Basically, I'll start with the commission. It's, number one, ASD represents they own the property, because they of course have to own the property. Under this redevelopment plan, you don't have the right to condemn, but they own all the property. They're responsible for the authority's costs. That's an administrative fee of $10,000 that they're paying to the authority. They also have to put in escrow $15,000 to cover legal and any other expenses, and they have to comply with the city has a redevelopment ordinance, fee ordinance that I think is increased, so I think your fee will be $125,000, and that they have to comply with that. They have the obligation to obtain all the approvals. We have no responsibility for any environmental issues. They have responsibility for all the environmental issues. I indicated the cost would be $175 million approximately. They have insurance with a $5 million limit, and your agency, the Park Authority, is named as an additional insurer along with the city. There's a force majeure clause which will allow them to extend the construction period if something happens that's beyond their control, strikes, a pandemic, things of that nature. That they identify the parking authority as a redevelopment agency for any claims that may be brought, anybody gets hurt on the job, for example, and they sue the parking authority, you're indemnified and you're held harmless besides the insurance. They explain the parking, half will be on site initially, half will be off site. They can't assign this agreement to anybody without your consent. There's some limited, they can rent the spaces and give utility easements, but if they want to sell this project, a redeveloper is supposed to construct the project, not to do it for speculation. If they want to sell it, they have to come back to you, and you have to agree that who they're selling it to has the capabilities to construct it the same way they were going to construct it. And knowing Mr. DeAnthony, I don't think he'll be coming back. He will not be selling it, but that's, if he does, we have the typical default clauses. If they don't do the construction with at the time, they violate any part of the agreement, we then have the right to terminate. There's mortgagee clauses which may or may not be relevant here, depending on the type of financing. And this is similar to the redevelopment agreements that the housing authority has when they act as the redeveloper. The housing authority projects are primarily housing projects. And the city determined you should be here because this is more of an office and parking lot and parking situation. So I can answer any of your questions. If not, we move the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, will you take public comment on this?
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. We appreciate the presentation. We thank the professionals for coming in tonight. Mitch, we have a series of votes that we're going to take for resolutions tonight.
Hey,
Do we want to go through those?
Excuse me, Chairman. I think we want to open for public comment, correct?
Oh, I apologize. Do we have any public comment?
Yes.
Yes, good evening. Charlie Cradaville, New Brunswick today. Appreciate the presentation and Mr. Hoffman for you laying out the terms that this developer would be agreeing to. I will say, this same project was before the Housing Authority, as you know, about a year ago. Same company was designated redeveloper, similar plan put before the board, and in that case, the documents were put on the website for the public to review in advance of the meeting. In this case, I don't believe the parking authority did that. Did I miss them on the website? Was there a place where the public could see what the proposal is?
I'm not aware of it, no.
Okay, well, I think the parking authority is off to a bad start in being a redevelopment agency in that you're holding the meeting in a tiny room where not everybody who wanted to get in could, and you're also not giving us advance look at what is proposed. But I'm pretty familiar with the project, so I will say I'm concerned about the construction of a deck on the Mayfair lot. It sounds like you're trying to get an approval that's got two options.
That's not what this project is. This project only deals with the office building and parking outside. That's all it deals with.
Right, but it was said multiple times that there's a sort of a dual plan, one plan for if the Mayfair parking garage gets approved, and another plan for if it does not, right? Am I correct in my understanding of the testimony?
That's correct, but when the Mayfair lot goes a redevelopment project, it'll come here, and you can talk about the Mayfair lot.
Understood. I just think that it seems like folks are setting the table for that to happen, and
well, this is an office building for the county.
I get that, and kind of surprised that the county commissioners haven't talked about it at all at their meetings. I trust you that the county has been informed of this, but I'm not.
The county's been negotiating for a while with Mr. DeAnthony, and the agreement says if they don't come to an agreement by a certain date, you can terminate.
Right, and I guess my other concerns are: will there be any homes or other things displaced by this project?
No.
No, so not the Joyce Kilmer house won't be touched.
It's all empty. It's all empty lot.
It's just the empty lot. Okay.
Right.
I do also just want to say that I think this is right near the Middlesex County College campus, so I do hope sincerely that the county chooses to incorporate an expansion of that institution, which I know you're very familiar with, into that building. What I've heard through the grapevine is it's just going to be stuff like prosecutor's office, and I'll be honest, we already have a whole building devoted to law enforcement in downtown. I don't think that we need an expansion of that, but we do need an expansion of the County College campus, and so I hope that in their infinite wisdom, the county, when they occupy this building, will incorporate education into the building and not just more law enforcement. I also just wanted to say that, my understanding of this applicant, this developer that's applying to you, the last time they worked with the parking authority was for the Plum Street deck, and they had two different projects, and I know, Mr. Hoffman, you're familiar with this, the French Street, which I think they call 10 Plum, and then the one that just opened up, which is a very nice looking building, but took about 10 or 15 years longer than was originally supposed to, and totally different project than what was originally proposed. What do you have to say, or what does the applicant have to say about their track record of delivering projects for this authority and for the housing authority, which supervised that as a redevelopment project? Why did it take so long to deliver on that? And how is this going to be different?
Well, they complied with both agreements. The first redevelopment agreement was for Plum 1, and then there was parking deck. There was thought that other things could get built, but it took a while for that to develop. And then when that developed, there was another redevelopment agreement, and as you can see, the buildings are up. They complied with that also.
Understood. Were they always in compliance with the, for instance, tax obligation to the city?
I wouldn't know. I assume that they have.
Okay, well, I wouldn't assume. I recall seeing on the tax sale list in maybe 2012, 2013, French Street Urban Renewal LLC, which was the entity that did build 10 Plum. And, it's my understanding if the Housing Authority was on top of things back then, that redevelopment agreement could have been, things like the tax exemption could have been taken away from them because they weren't paying on time. Can any of the witnesses speak to whether they paid on time what they owed to the city of New Brunswick, or whether there were delays or problems?
Hold on. There's nothing to do with this project.
But hold on. So typically, one, public comment, or we're allowing special comment on distance. That's fine. It's not a deposition. And I appreciate what we're trying to do. I'm trying to give you some leeway here, but at some point we're starting to get off track. We're getting away from the project and asking questions about what the motivation was or whatever. Are there questions about the project in particular that you have, or if they're going to expand from it? I understand that. I just want to keep it.
I've asked about the project. Now I'm moving to the financial agreement, which you're also being asked to approve a financial agreement with AST.
A redevelopment agreement.
Right.
So that's financial agreement. That's different. That's
okay.
So that's why I'm saying I don't want to get too. I'm trying. And by the way, I'm trying to give you some leeway. I don't want to get too far off the path. I know you'll work with me on it too.
I appreciate that, and I will. I was just hoping to hear from the witnesses about the delays with the past project and any discrepancies or problems that came up. I'm sure they have an explanation, but I haven't heard it. So
it's not relevant to this presentation. I don't think it is time.
Well, I think that's all I have on this application. I do appreciate the opportunity to comment publicly. That's a good precedent to set, that people can comment on redevelopment projects.
All right, then we'd like to move the resolution, which would designate AST New Brunswick as a redeveloper, and also approve the redevelopment plan and authorize the chairman to execute the agreement.
I'm sorry, so we're moving to, so.
Okay, can we get a, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, is this the conclusion of the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
That's when we left the public comment.
Are there any other members of the public who need to, wish to comment on this, proposal?
They went back home.
If there are none?
No, Chairman.
No. Okay, then I would entertain a motion from the board on the resolution. Can I get a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'm sorry, so we have a series of resolutions.
Number 2, we do number 2.
Number 2? Okay.
Number 2,
All right.
resolution appointing AST New Brunswick as the redeveloper of the office building.
motion. I'll make a motion. I'll second that motion.
We have a second motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor.
No, that's why I was saying, yeah. Mr. Chairman, while everyone's backing up, I just, as a point, we moved into the resolutions, but we kind of skipped past resolution number 1.
Yes. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I was going to go through the rest of the resolutions once everybody was settled and the applicant was out of the room.
Understood. And then the remaining resolutions outside of number 2, you can, similar to what we did in the reorganization meeting, you can do those on consent agenda if you choose.
Okay, I'll ask Mitch to kind of review number 1 and then items 3 through 7.
Bueno, ya vamos a terminar la transmisión.